Thank you guys for staying after class today to listen to me give my speech. I came up with my idea for my speech after a recent visit to my son's pediatrician's office when I overheard how many parents don't vaccinate their kids. It really got me thinking about why people would not vaccinate their kids when it's so important and can keep them from getting such horrible diseases. And I just couldn't understand why anyone would want to expose their kids to something like that. So I went home and I started looking at different databases and checking out different scholarly articles and different websites other than Google, so I could try to get all my facts straight. And I found quite a bit of information. I found out that parents can not vaccinate their kids for religious, medical, and very rarely personal reasons. That in an article on CNN's website from May 30th of this year, the number of cases of measles had already risen to 288 in the United States. That's more cases in a single year than any year alone since the disease was eliminated in 2000. The number of cases is rising because so many parents are choosing not to vaccinate their kids these days. Regardless of what the parent's reason is for not vaccinating their kids, vaccinations are completely safe and should be required by any and all kids who are able to get that vaccination. Vaccinations are needed not only to protect that kid, but also for everyone around them. And it also helps to keep history from repeating itself. As I said, vaccinations are needed to protect everyone, not just the kid who's receiving the vaccine. They're needed for herd immunity. Herd immunity is when the majority of kids are vaccinated, and that there's little to no chance of an outbreak happening. Maria Chang wrote in her article, Measles Surged in the UK Years After Flawed Research, that to stop measles outbreaks, more than 95% of children need to be fully immunized. The vaccination schedule is in place for a reason. Straying from this schedule puts kids at risk. Liz Salvo in USA Today article, Vaccination Schedule, Safe for Kids, panel says, stated that straying from the vaccination schedule puts your kids at risk, but also raises the risk of an outbreak happening. Not all kids can get the vaccines. Some kids have certain allergies to the components within the vaccine. Others also are at risk, harmful side effects if they were to get the vaccine because they have a weakened or compromised immune system. This could be from different illnesses that they already have, or if they had cancer from the chemo, or anything like that. Next, by making sure that everyone gets the vaccines, these harmful and often deadly diseases can be prevented. Since vaccines were made, the number of cases of diseases prevented annually is outstanding. Whooping cough alone prevents approximately 630,000 cases a year. Measles, an approximate 1.6 million cases a year, and polio, 550,000 a year. These diseases aren't always cut and dry. It's not, oh, you get sick with chicken pox, you get the red itchy bumps, which turns to scabs 2 weeks later, and then it's gone for good. Not everyone's that lucky. Some people, as they get older, still have that virus living within them in a dormant state, waiting to attack, which, if they did have, an illness or something, then it could compromise their immune system, and the next thing they know, they have shingles. If a man were to get chickenpox once he isn't an adult, it could also cause him to be infertile. If polio were to make its comeback and someone was to get polio, it's usually just a virus living within them that goes away and doesn't have any harmful side effects. But for a lot of people, it causes paralysis and even death. In order to keep history from repeating itself, we really need to be vaccinated. A look back in history shows us how deadly it can be. In 1916 in the United States, there was a polio epidemic. That year alone, 6,000 people were killed and another 27,000 were paralyzed, according to the National Institutes of Health website. In the 1950s, there were about 25,000 cases a year of polio in the United States. The vaccination was invented in 1955. By 1960, the number of cases of polio in the United States was down to 3,000 a year. In 1979, that number was down to 10. As we've already heard, vaccines are an important step in the prevention of diseases. We need to work together to eradicate these harmful and often deadly diseases. And in order to do so, we need to each get out and vaccinate our kids. Regardless of what the media and celebrities are saying about how dangerous vaccines can be, it's not true. These diseases are more dangerous than any side effects that we could receive from the vaccines. So I'm going to ask you now, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit back and let these horrible diseases make their comeback in the United States and around the world? Or are you going to take your kids or your friends' kids, whoever, and get them to their doctor and get their vaccinations? We as adults also need to work towards the cause and make sure we're up to date on our boosters. Together, we can work together to rid this world of these horrible and often deadly diseases. Thank you.